It is for God to punish him, not for you. Leave him to God, because he is committing a crime against God, not against you. If you don't listen to him, this is the beauty of this. If you don't listen to him, you will not be punished by God. So what right have you got to interfere in this matter? He's committing a crime against his Lord. Let the Lord deal with him. But also remember, إِن يَكُ صَادِقًا يُصِبْكُمْ بَعْضُ الَّذِي يَعِظُكُمْ. If he happened to be true, and you moved against him, then you will most certainly receive the wrath of Allah. Then you will have had it. So what a logical approach to this question of anybody claiming to be a prophet of God or having been raised by God for some purpose. It's a relationship between man and God, and no third party can ever know what happened. As such, they are people unconcerned. Either they should accept or reject, but nothing more. They have no right to interfere with in the affairs of such a person or in his message. Then the Holy Quran speaks of a beautiful principle which is self-explanatory. It says, لِيَهْلِكَ مَنْ هَلَكَ عَنْ بَيِّنَةٍ وَيَحْيَى مَنْ حَيَّ عَنْ بَيِّنَةٍ. So that those whom strong logic and sound reasoning strengthens and makes him worthy of survival, let him survive. And those who are condemned on the strength of logic and reasoning to perish, let them perish. There is no question of sword-perishing views, but there are certain views which in themselves are bound to destroy the people who hold those views. So there is no need for an outside interference in such matters. Some ideologies, some views, some beliefs have that potential power to survive. As such, those who hold to those beliefs will also survive. Some beliefs are fatal to those who stick to them. And according to the Holy Quran, it is the beliefs themselves who will destroy such people along with the beliefs themselves. Again, the Holy Quran is full of religious history whereby we understand, and we are made to understand repeatedly, that no prophet whatsoever at any time in the history of religion ever advocated force for the spread of message. On the contrary, according to the Holy Quran, every message of a prophet was attempted to be wiped out and destroyed with the help of force, so that to use coercion and force fell to the enemies of religion, never to religion itself. Now this is a history of as preserved in the Holy Quran, which has no exception whatsoever. It speaks of Adam and what followed, and speaks of Abraham and Moses and Saleh and many other prophets, Moses and Jesus, and every time it ends up with the positive statement that always, without fail, without exception, those people who were raised by Allah advocated free dialogue, conversation, persuasion, love, and without fail, without exception, always, the opponents preached coercion, murder, expulsion from their homes, burning of them alive like Abraham was treated, and so on and so forth. So in the whole study of the Holy Quran, there is not one single instance quoted where prophets are known to have been given the right by God to use force for the spread of their message. For instance, one prophet addressing his opponents who rejected him is mentioned to have said, Ya qawme araytum in kuntu ala bayyinati min rabbi wa atani rahmatan min indihi fa ummiyat alaykum an nulzimukumuha wa antum laha karihun. O my people, can't you see that if I have come with manifest signs from my God, and God has has treated me with blessing from himself, but this truth has been made obscure to you. You fail to notice, observe this truth. أَنُّلْزِمُكُمُوهَا وَأَنْتُمْ لَهَا كَارِهُونَ. How can we make you believe in this truth when you don't like it? There's no way. It doesn't say that, all right, we'll use the sword now to make you understand the truth. It says it's impossible. You have rejected it, and there it ends. We are left with no other measure or instrument whereby we could make you convinced of this truth. On the other hand, their opponents are related to have adopted a very different logic. قال الملأ الذين استكبروا من قومه لنخرجنك يا شعيب والذين آمنوا معك من قريتنا أو لتعودن في ملتنا. They, on the contrary, said, for instance, to Shu'aib, that we would most certainly turn you out of your country, your homeland, and those who believe in you, or لَتَعُودُنَّ فِي مِلَّتِنَا, or you are bound to return to our old faith. Either you return to the older faith, or we'll expel you from your homeland and those who follow you. The answer was, أَوَلَوْ كُنَّا كَارِهِينَ. Even if we can't understand your faith, even if we are averse to accepting that faith, how could it happen? We don't understand, and you try to force us back to that faith which we abhor, which not only we don't understand, we just don't like to return to that faith. This is logic, this is humanity, this is understandable in every country of the world. And this is the message of the Holy Quran. So to attribute anything else is totally wrong, totally unfounded. Islam has nothing to do with coercion as with regards to the spread of its message. It's most not only misunderstood religion, but most misrepresented religion, most unfortunately. I don't want to take much longer of your time. I know there will be some questions, maybe also revolving Salman Rushdie affair and so on and so forth. So now I better return to my seat to wait for any questions which you may, with the permission of the chair, ask me, and we'll see how I manage to answer those questions. Thank you.